Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahudah. We are at it again. Yes. Call to wake up Yaakov and Yahudah. Call to reach the grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. We making full proof of this ministry. Yeah. Yahusha has called me to reach Yasharal and Yahudah, right? Right? Those who have been awakened but yet need to be quickened. And see, he's called to the Gentiles, those amongst their people who he has chosen, and got to reach them. Listen, I'm about the Basora. I can care less about what you think. I can care less about what you think I should be doing. I am about the Basora of Yahuah and Yahusha and the truth of the Basora. Yeah. So I'm going to do it the way he gives it to me to do it. Yahuah, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I give you praise for sending a kinsman redeemer for the nation of Yasharal and Yahudah and extending the blessing of Yeshua to the other nations amongst whom you have called out those who you have chosen. Yahuah, I give you praise. This mystery, Yahuah, was hid, but is revealed now to those who have received your witness and who walk in the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuah, I give you praise. Yahuah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. I pray in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, according as you have given him your Basora, and he has given it to me, and I have kept it. I have hid it in my heart. I am your guardian. I am your kinsman redeemer. I am your avenger. Yahuah, I am here to go forth in protection of the Basora and to delivering the word of truth. That's all I look to do. I look to serve you in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach by reaching those whom you have chosen. Yahuah, this is about us returning and you establishing your kingdom in Jerusalem. You establishing your kingdom in this place that you have designated as Jerusalem. Yahuah, I pray in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that I wouldn't cause anyone to be injured, anyone to be turned out of way, anyone to stumble, anyone to come up lame. Yahuah, take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuah, we are about your business. You have put your Ruach HaKodesh in me. Yahusha says that if I love him, to keep his commandments, as he has kept the Father's commandments. He said, listen, to demonstrate the love that he has put in me to the brethren. And Yahuah, all those who received this witness are received of you. And I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that the word that you have given me to go out, that it would not return unto you void, but that it would do that which is sent forth to do, that it would quicken, that it would make alive, that it would establish. And Yahusha HaMashiach, I rely on the Ruach HaKodesh. I am an empty vessel poured out before the Yahuah, one who believes in trusting in the Ruach HaKodesh entirely, being led by the Ruach HaKodesh entirely, trusting in the Ruach HaKodesh entirely. Yahuah, I pray for those who are part of this Basora, this ministry, this Torah Basora ministry. I pray that you would quicken the ministry that you put in them, that you would make them alive in what you have called them to do. Yahuah, we don't sit around, we about business. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, Yahuah, I pray in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahuah, and Yahuah, my strength, and my redeemer. Listen. I'm about business. Right. I'm about Yahuah's business. Listen, I'm about Yahuah's business. I'm about getting the Basora into the hands of those who will use the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach to declare the Basora to reach the brethren. Got so many of us that are still out there in this awakening that have not received the quickening. You need to be quickened by the Ruach HaKodesh. You need to be made alive. Yeah. You know who you are. You understand you as a people. But do you understand the relationship of the witness of Yahusha and how important and integral it is? It quickens you. It makes you alive. It establishes you as a king in his kingdom. It gives you your place. It gives you this position. It puts you as a pillar in Yahuwah's kingdom. These signs follow them to believe. Yeah. These signs follow them to believe. Right? This Basora, this message of Yahuah and Yahusha, right, comes with signs following. Yeah, it does. And what you see in the book of Acts, our demonstration of how the Ruach HaKodesh and the witness operates. And if what you're doing is not in sync with, right, or following the same similitude, then you need to ask yourself, what are you doing? Because it's about reaching Yahuwah's people. It's about reaching him with the Basora of truth. It's about delivering a word, a Basora, a Torah. Listen, I'm about my Father's business. Because I have all intentions of going to Jerusalem. I have all intentions to being established in his kingdom. Jerusalem, wherever that is. It ain't in the Americas. It's in Africa, right? But I expect to be a part of the kingdom of Yahuwah. Yes, I expect to be a part of the kingdom of Yahuwah. We going in. Listen. We are in the book of Acts. And we are in book of Acts because Yahuwah's word to me is to go back to Acts, to help the people to continue to understand what it looks like to have received the witness and having walked in the Ruach HaKodesh and have been led by the Ruach. Listen, as many as are led by the Ruach HaKodesh, these are the sons of Eloah. The Ruach HaKodesh should be leading you to do something that establishes his kingdom. The Ruach HaKodesh in you, if you have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, the complete witness, the baptism, the blood, and the Ruach HaKodesh. If you receive the witness of the that's in the erects, these three which are one, right? If you receive this witness, right, because the Father's witness in the Shamayim is him, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh. But if you've received this witness, you should have signs following you. You should have signs following you, right? It should look like this. It should look like this. In the awakening, it should look like this, right? It should look like this. It should look like this, right? It's the message of Yahusha, right? It's the message of Yahusha. It's not a complicated message, right? It's not a complicated message. It's an established word, a basora of truth. That's not complicated. And what it does is not complicated. What it does is not complicated. What the witness does and the Ruach HaKodesh does is not complicated. Yeah, no, it's not complicated. It's not hard to discern. Right. Because the signs are here. Hey, cut it out! Go! No, go! My dogs. Yeah, get them in. So, it's about the witness. You have to receive the witness. You have to receive the witness. Okay, we got a stranger next door. Yeah, they doing their job. A lot of times they just be barking. I gotta let them do their job. I'm sorry for the distraction. But listen, it's about the witness. Yahuwah says you got to let these people know that this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like, right? This is what it looks like. This is what it does. It reaches the Gentiles in chapter 11. It receives visions in chapter 10. It leads in the Ruach HaKodesh. It leads. You can't quench this. You can't decide not to do what the Ruach HaKodesh instructs you to do. Let's go in. We're going into the 12th chapter of the book of Acts. And we're going to get a look or a glimpse at how it continues to look and what comes as a result of having walked in the witness. Right? Right, so let's go on. So it says, now about that time, right, Herod, right, the Herodian, right, the Edomite, right, descendants of Ishmael, Esau, right? Now about that time, Herod, the king, stretched forth his hands to vex the assembly, right? Herod gonna put pressure and begin to vex the assemblies, right? Because it was to his benefit to vex the assemblies. The Pharisees and the Sadducees were in agreement with Herod because they were his puppets. So he aligned himself, again, with the purpose of vexing the assemblies. Because no doubt the Pharisees and of themselves, were extremely disgruntled at this Hamashiach, right, this king that was crucified, which the Yahudiym has elevated to Yeshua, to Savior, to salvation in his name, right? Preach a whole message on the day of Pentecost, how they crucified Hamashiach, right? So, it's time for them to do something, right? They feel like, okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and put pressure on them, make the Pharisees a little bit happier, make those people who don't want to receive this witness a little bit better. They feel better about everything, right? So he says he put his hands to vex the church. Now, right, we got an idea of what the word vex mean, but what does it mean in the Hebrew? In the Greek.
Strong's G 2559. Cacao.
And that word cacao means to oppress, right? To afflict, to harm, to maltreat, to embitter, to render evil effect. So he was about ready to get busy on the Yahudiym, those who received the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, right? So it says that, right? And he killed James, the brother of Yochanon, with the sword. So Herod says, well, go ahead and kill him. You got my permission. And they killed James, the brother of Yochanan, right? Peter, James, and John, right? Peter, James, and John were brothers, right? Or James and John were brothers, right? And it was Peter, James, and John that were with Yahusha on the mountain of transfiguration, which saw Yahusha appear, or saw Yahusha receive, or saw Yahusha from the inside out change. That's the best way to say it, right? Because they seen his glory, right? He was whiter than full of soap, and there appeared with him Moses and Elias. You remember, right? It's in the Matstsah. So here you have James, right? Pillar in the church, right? Him, John, Peter, and the apostles, right? So they said, let's just go ahead and kill James. So they killed him with a sword, right? And because he saw it pleased the Pharisees and the Sadducees, saw that it pleased those that were the Sanhedrin, those who were the the religious Jews who did not receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? They were happy about it because, you know, they was intent on destroying and killing the Yahudiym anyway. I mean, they gave Paul letters to go in and drag him out, and bring him at any cost. And, you know, at that time, Paul was privy to the death of Stephen, right? Persecution arose, right? So, you know, you got the people that scattered after Stephen, but now, you know, Herod was like, okay, well, we got to do something else. You know, let's go ahead and kill James. And when he seen that the killing of James made the Sanhedrin excited and the people, right? Right? He says, wow. They said they killed James, the brother of Yochanon, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter, right? He gonna take Peter now. Right? Now, Peter already knows how he gonna die. Because Yahuah already told him he was gonna, you know, he was gonna be on the tree upside down. He knew the nature of his death because it was revealed to him, right? But he took him, right? Took Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So he took him through, he snatched him up during the feast days. Of unleavened bread. He snatched Peter, right? During Pecach. Right? A feast of unleavened bread. He snatched him. Right? Put him in jail. Because it pleased the people. See, because this is what the witness of Yahusha looks like. It's going to be persecution because of the witness. You may lose your life because of the witness. You're going to lose your life because of the witness. You ain't going to lose your life in Yahushua HaMashiach just because ain't nobody going to take your life in Yahushua HaMashiach having received the witness. Listen, you are his. Your appointment with death is to his glory. That's if he chooses to allow you to live. That's if he chooses to allow you to die in that manner. To live is Hamashiach, to die is gain. Listen, for us in the witness who have received his Ruach HaKodesh, because he's on the inside of us, if he chooses in the midst of the service that we're rendering on his behalf to allow us to die at the hands of those who persecute us, then that's his will. But the witness is in us, the Ruach HaKodesh, the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. These establishes us. We are in his hands. Can't nobody do nothing to us unless it is for his witness. It is on behalf of his witness. Oh. Listen. It was James's time to be offered up to the glory of Yahuah. Excuse me. It was James's time, to be offered up on behalf of Yahusha. He died because of righteousness. He died having been doing the service. He died because he remained in Jerusalem to continue to preach and declare and to heal and do everything that they did while everybody else scattered into the other places. James was doing the work. And Herod killed him. And he saw that pleased the Jews, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, right? The priests, the Levites, those that were under the authority of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He saw that it pleased them. Oh, yeah, okay. They like that. All right, well, let's go ahead. Who else can we snatch up and put in jail? Took him on during the Pecach, during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Right? He died righteously. He didn't die because of sin. He was an unleavened sacrifice. Because he's establishing Yahushua Hamashiach, he don't sin. He's establishing Yahushua Hamashiach. He died righteously. Can't nobody kill you if you've received the witness of Yahushua Hamashiach and just arbitrarily take your life. If you die, it's to the glory of Yahuah and Yahusha. Okay, so let's go on in that fourth verse. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison. Now, he was delivered into prison for righteousness. Right? Righteousness. He wasn't put into prison because he had committed an act of lawlessness. Right? He was put in prison he was put in prison in order to satisfy someone else's desire to see him removed. Right? Look, they've been doing that to us for years. We got so many incarcerated Hebrews up in prisons. Again, some of y'all are there because you deserve to be there, because you violated the law. But then there's some of y'all that went into prison just because it satisfied what they wanted. Right? We got to reach the prison houses. Right? We got to reach the prison houses. You got people in your assembly that have the Ruach HaKodesh that need to be in prison houses. You got people in your assembly that used to be in prison houses, that have received the Ruach HaKodesh and the Tsor of truth, that need to go into prison houses to reach the brethren. Not for you to sit up in your assembly and camp out. Yahuah. Listen, you got occultes that used to be strippers and hookers. There's still no people that are on the block. There's still no people swinging on poles. Listen, you need to reach people. You don't need to be sitting up in your assembly teaching all the time. You need to get out and reach the people that you were delivered from. Bruise. I tell you, man, we got it twisted, man. Got it back. Got it messed up. It's all messed up. Listen, you know Yahuah has delivered you from homosexuality. You need to be delivered, and you need to be in a position to go with the Ruach HaKodesh and minister. You got the Ruach HaKodesh now. You ain't got to look. That ain't your life, but you need to let them know. My people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then he would hear from heaven. He has called Yahusha to be the witness that you've received, that you need to go and witness, because he's given it to you to do it. Sitting up here, gathering with your own people who are established, and some of which have the Ruach HaKodesh and some of them don't, because you still keep having the same mess occur with them. But those who have the Ruach HaKodesh, they should be out ministering. Listen, in the Tsor of truth, the Tsor of truth that Yahusha and Yahuah has put in me, right? The people that come under the Tsor of truth, listen. Yahuah is giving you a word of the witness of the Ruach of Yahusha HaMashiach, and he has equipped you, and he will continue to feed you, but you have to go and do what he told you to do. Sit around up under me. What? You better receive the word and the witness and go forth and produce fruit. That's what this is about. Peter was put into prison in order to stop him from producing fruit. But Yahuah and Yahusha ain't going to allow him to be in prison because he has to produce fruit. Listen, we have to go into the prison houses, y'all. We got to go into the prison houses. You know, some of y'all been in prison, right? Been in prison. Done received the Ruach HaKodesh and the witness and ain't been back. Ain't been back to remove any burdens or destroy any yokes. You should be back ministering and reaching the lost that are in prison houses, that are Yahudiym, but that are the other nations that are gladly get in a place where they can sit down and listen to something and then receive a quickening. Because now you have the power, right? You have the power. You may not be able to baptize them in prison, but I guarantee you something. Yahuah knows where they're at, and he understands the limitations. But you could preach the Tsor of truth to them and establish the witness of Yahusha and Yahuah, and you could pray for them. You can lay hands on them after they've received Yahusha HaMashiach and the witness, and they can receive the Ruach HaKodesh from you because you got it. Oh, you don't hear me, man. Listen, this is the work. This is the work. It ain't about sitting around in an assembly camped out. This is a work. This is a work. It's a work. It's work. It's about being about business. It's about doing the work. And listen, that's when Yahuah is going to gather us. Look, he's got people he got to reach. And you can't say because, oh, okay, well, you know, this is the awakening, you know, and, you know, the people of Yahuah are awoke. Look, they was awoke to who they were at the time when Yahusha HaMashiach was there, but they still didn't receive the witness. They were awakened to who they were. And some of them were walking imposters. But the people who were of the tribe of Levi, and the people who were Yahudiym and Benjamin and that were in that area that were Yahudiym, that were Judah, they knew who they were. Look, Peter said, listen, I ain't never ate anything unclean. He kept the Torah. Here we people get what we woke, so now because we woke, we feel we good. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm woke. Yeah, I'm good. I'm woke. I ain't received the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, right? In prison houses. Finding out they're Hebrew, but now they need to understand that they need to receive the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. You got to reach them. Got to go to them. Some of y'all been in that lifestyle, right? Been strippers. Swinging on poles, getting that paper. Some of y'all was selling y'all bodies. You was prostitutes, Hebrews, trying to make it work. A bunch of babies from a bunch of different daddies, just really selling yourself. But you have been quickened, made alive in Yahusha HaMashiach, have received his witness and his Torah. What you gonna do? Listen, you should be reaching out to the people that you knew. Say, listen, I got a word from you, from Yahuah. A word from Yahusha. Who is that? Listen, they called him Jesus, but they got it wrong. His name is Yahusha, right? He's what's changed me to who I am today. And I want to share him with you. Okay, I don't know if I want to hear that. Well, listen, hear me out. And then if you hear me out and you don't want to hear them, it's okay. I just wanted to let you know. I needed to let you know. Because I've been where you've been. No, we sitting around in our assemblies. Teaching the same people the same stuff in a different way. Yeah, I know somebody ain't gonna like this. He doesn't like it, Yahuwah's word is true. Don't matter. Peter, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers. Now, quaternions, right? Let's see what is that. What's that? It was a guard consisting of 4 soldiers, right? So they put Peter in prison and then put 4 guards in front of him, 4 soldiers. Now Peter's in prison, locked up, right? Now listen, I was a prison guard. I actually worked in a prison. I was a prison guard, then I was in prison. I was responsible for assigning jobs to new inmates, or people that were new inmates and giving them jobs and responsibility, setting them up from school and in prison, because, the prison that I was in was a youth prison, right? So it was a prison though. I mean, these kids was locked up. Some of them locked up until they could go into regular prison, but with adults. But actually, I worked 2 places. I worked the work camp, which was adults, and the work camp was security, but it was still prison. But work camps are a little more free mobility. You could go out and work under the supervision of guards, right? Work camp. So I started out working at a work camp, right? And I was working with adults. They were all in cottages, right? They couldn't go nowhere except, they could mingle around each other because they were all in cottages. The cottages had anywhere from 50 to 60 inmates in them. They all had bunks. They had a central location for shower. It was their cottage, right? These cottages were numbered, so everything was self-contained. You had one guard that was responsible for that cottage. Right, my desk was smack dab in the front, and all the inmates were there. I had like 60 inmates that I was responsible for. But the work camp inmates were inmates that they deemed more trusting, right? Right, you weren't really getting jumped, or it wasn't like that. But again, it's about a respect. I can remember the first day that I got there, right? And I walked in and I looked at I'm seeing these dudes, and I was like, wow. So you know what? I knew I had the authority, and they had to listen, right? Right. So I said to them, I need everybody in here, and I need them on their bunks. I'm like, man. I said, I don't understand what the problem is. I need you to be on your bunks. I need something I need to say to you. Yeah, okay, so we get everybody in there on their bunks, and they all looking at me. I said, now listen, I want you to understand something. This is your house, right? Right. I come in here in your house, right? And they asked me to supervise you in your house because this is where you live, right? But I'm going to respect you in your house, right? I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to disrespect you as a man. I'm not going to do that because that's just not who I am. I'm going to respect you. As long as you respect me. If you don't respect me, then it's game on, right? Then I'm going to go do the things that, some of these other people do just because they know they can, right? Then, you're going to lose the respect. So, I went on and I told them this, and they was like, man, okay. They came up to me, a bunch of them, like, look, man, ain't nobody ever talked to us like that. Look, if you can respect us, man, you ain't ever got to worry about having a problem. Never have to worry about a problem. I said, well, it's good because, you're going to get my respect. I'm not going to disrespect you because I don't think I need to disrespect you. You're a man. I'm a man. You make choices. Your choices ended you up here. I can, I respect the fact that you living out the consequences of your decisions. They was like, look at me like, right? But you know what? I had the respect of every inmate in that dorm and every inmate of the other dorms, because you know what? They communicated what I communicated to them. They knew what they were dealing with. I never had a problem. I remember one time, I'm getting off a little bit, but I remember one time, right? I had a notebook that was on the top of my desk, right? And my pen, so I wrote my notes and kept some stuff in there, and I go out and I come back and, it's gone. Inmates, they sticky fingers, like. So I'm looking around on my desk and I'm like, okay, somebody stole my notebook. Okay. So, I told them all, I said, listen, I need y'all in here for a second. He said, what? I said, I need you in here for I need everybody in here. They came, okay, Mr. Walker, we're coming in. I said, now listen, I remember I told you, I said, as long as you respect me, I respect you. We don't have no problems, because, I'm going to respect you, and this is your house. I said, but this desk right here, this is not yours, it's my desk. This represents an area that's a secured area for me. This is my space, right? And you just can't enter my space. You can't take nothing off my space. You can't remove anything from my space, because this is my space, right? And somebody has taken the liberty of taking a notebook that was mine, it was personal, off my desk, my space, right? Now, I was close to the end of the shift, because, I was trying to put my stuff away. I said, well, listen, this is what I'm going to do, right? If I could have my notebook back on this desk, right? Tomorrow when I start my shift, then we good. I ain't gonna even hold a grudge. We good. But if I can't have my notebook back, then it's game on. Right? Because you remember the conversation we had, right? They was like, oh man, where the book at, man? Who took the notebook, man? Where's it at? I had some dudes up there that was super swole. These dudes were swole. I mean, they was doing the weights. They was swole. And it's like, oh man. And the one dude, big dude, swole. He said, Mr. Walker, we gonna figure it out. We gonna get it. We gonna get it squared away. I said, okay. I said, we good. We good. That's all right. We'll see you tomorrow. And, I switched. The officer came in behind me, and I went out. Right? So, I'm thinking, man, I hope they had that notebook back, because if they don't, then I'm going to have to get seriously, and I really don't want to get that way with them. But you know what? They had to know that I would. And then I had to do it until something was done, right? So, I get back to shift the next day, right? There was about 10 or 15 notebooks on my desk. None of them was mine, but there was about 10 or 15 notebooks on the desk. So they either terrorized the yard enough to come up with some notebooks, and probably terrorized or scared whoever it was who knew that he had it, because he was going to have to pay, right? So when I get there, they said, Mr. Walker, man, look, we covered everything, and these are the books that this is what we came up with, right? So I looked at him. I said, none of these notebooks are mine. None of these notebooks are mine. None of these notebooks are mine. They was like, oh, man, shit. I said, but this is what I'm going to do, right? I appreciate what you have applied yourself to do in order to find what is mine. And evidently, either you have intimidated whoever it was who took it to the point where he don't want to give it up, because if he do, then everybody gonna know who he is, and you know how that go. Or you couldn't get it. But I'm gonna tell you this, there was nothing really in that notebook that was detrimental, right, that would be a problem for me, but it was mine. And the fact that I have all these notepads here is an indication that you cared enough to make sure that I had mine. So, because of that respect, right, we're going to be all good. But understand this. If anything ever leaves my desk again, we won't even have this conversation. It'll be just game on. Because it's about respect. Listen, that was it. Never had any... Listen, it don't matter what I left around. And I used to test them to see nothing. Right? But it was about respect. Right? They were in prison because they belonged there. Right? See, you know, I've always had the Ruach HaKodesh. And he's always been wisdom to me. Right? And at times, he's given me things to do and to say to put me in positions to get things done, right, that was the Ruach. Look, I received the Ruach at an early age. I didn't receive Christianity. I received the Ruach of Yahuah and Yahusha. And, you know, again, I've told you the things that, and I haven't even told you all the things that Yahuah did through me, right? In that, I also was able to preach to these people. I was able to open up the Bible, right? And preach from a text. Yeah. I did prison ministry. Listen, they used to have me speak on certain days, certain topics. And you know, that comes straight from the book. They know me, right? It was what Yahuah had put in me. Listen, they put four guards over the prison in the place where they had put Peter, right? Soldiers to keep him intending after. See, now, you could tell, now, this is pagan, right? See, now, unless you understand the manipulation and the subtleties that are attached to their translations, right? This will go right past you, and you will assume that this word Easter, right, is associated with a Mashiach and unleavened bread and Pecach. You would believe that the feast of Pecach was associated with Estar, right? Because Estar is the worship of the goddess Estar, which is Easter. You wouldn't understand. You would assume that, oh, he's talking about Easter. It was a pagan holiday that they identified with unleavened bread and Pecach. See, I'm going to tell you something, right? When you have the Ruach HaKodesh, it don't matter if you know Hebrew or Greek. It'll reveal it to you. Excuse me. When you have the Ruach HaKodesh, it will reveal it. Okay. Intended after Easter. The Pecach sacrifice, which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of Egypt. Right? But that's not Esther. That's Pecach. Easter is not Pecach. Listen, okay, let's do this. Let's do this, because I know some of y'all saying, oh, whatever, man. You know, tomato. You know, you understand what people, you say it's tomato, but it's tomato, Origin of the word. Origin of the word. Easter. Okay. The origin of the word Easter, right? It's a modern English term, Easter, cognate with modern Dutch and German Osten, developed from the Old English word that usually appears in the form of esteron or esteros, right? Or estra. Right? That's the word. Okay, now, let's look at what the word estra mean, or esteros. Let's look that up, right? Because it's not really telling you anything. I mean, it's just telling you this and that and that and this. Oh, okay, that's what that is. That's what that means. Let's look at the word esteros. Let's do this. Right, esteros. They give you the Easter, right? But they're not telling you the esteros. Let's do this. Let's put the goddess. Okay. Estera, right? Estera. Look at that. The pagan goddess behind. No. Listen. Esteros. The pagan goddess behind the holiday Easter. Right now, unless you understand this, you're going to accept that Easter is somehow connected with Pecach, which is unleavened bread, which had everything to do with the deliverance of the nation of Yasharal, right, from Egypt. They had nothing to do with it, right? And how they attach it to Hamashiach and Easter, right? Because it's in here. Acts 12:4. Attending after at Easter to bring him forth to the people. That's not in the original Hebrew. In the original Hebrew, there's nothing that has anything to do with Easter. But that's how they translated it. But Ruach HaKodesh will lead you and guide you into our truth. See, look, he's led me and guided me into our truth. So listen. So we understand, because you got to understand, right? Here, he says, the pagan goddess behind the holiday Easter, right? Why do only English-speaking celebrate Easter? Most other people of the world call the holiday observed by Christians this Sunday by some variation or word, right? Blame it on a woman, and no ordinary woman at that, a goddess, right? Easter, right? as accounted by the English monk, right, in the 7th and 8th centuries, father of English history, right, the 7th and the 8th century, the father of English history, the former pagan in England, called April, or the month making Yahusha's resurrection, Ashtaroth, or the month of Ashtoreth. 7th and 8th century. It was never Ashtoreth. It's never Easter. It's never Easter, but you know the 7th and 8th century. Right, 7th and 8th century, pagan. Right? Right. It says here, as recounted by the English monk Bede, the 7th and 8th century father of English history, right? The former pagan in English called April, right? April, or the month marking Yahusha's resurrection, Astronomoth, an Old English for the month of Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth is variously depicted by scholars as a fertility goddess and a goddess of dawn and light. Right? A goddess of dawn and light, sun and light. That's all the Roman sun god. A bunch of things that go on with these gods and goddesses, right? The dawn connection could explain the linguist's link between Ashtaroth and the word east, right? An academic and a Christian missionary, Bede referred to Ashtaroth or Ostros is technically textually unique in the extent that many throughout the centuries have asserted it as fabricated. It was only in the 1950s that archaeological evidence was found supporting his claim of such a goddess in England. And recent work done by the University of Lancaster placed the connection of Ashtaroth with arguably buttress in Bede's version, right? So, in almost every other international language, the holiday is called by some permetists of Pecach, the Hebrew word for Passover, right? But the Europeans and the Christians who took the Hebrew script, the Bible, that was written in Hebrew, right, translated, right, Pecach into Easter, or Ashtaroth. So there's a little information for you, right? There's a little information for you. I might even link that in the description. So they was keeping them there to the end to keep them there to after Pecach, right? Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church upon Yahuah for him. So here we have the assembly, right? Not the church, not the church, but the assembly praying for Peter. This is what it looks like, right? This is what it looks like. When you have one that'll put 1,000 a flight, they have the Ruach HaKodesh. Two could put 10,000 a flight. Listen, on a whole assembly with the Ruach could move Yahuah to move and do something. Peter in prison. He was kept in prison. And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound in two chains. And the keeper before the door kept the prison. So Peter is in chains, two chains. And on either side of him, you have two soldiers. And then you got the soldier that's at the front of the prison. And behold, a malachine of Adonai came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from him. Now, this is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. Listen. This is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. This is what it looks like when you have the Kodeshim, the saints, praying and interceding on your behalf because of some unrighteous act that is done against you, right? For the kingdom of Yahusha HaMashiach's sake, right? They're praying and interceding for you, and you all locked up, right? But all of a sudden, a malachine taps you on the shoulder between two guards who are no doubt sleeping too, because they ain't got no reason to be awake because you ain't going nowhere. And then you got the guard standing out front, right? And even if, right? Even if they weren't asleep, the angel has the capacity to put them in a time loop. A visual time loop, right? So they continue to see everything as it was in this time loop, being awake, even if they're not asleep. Listen. We talking to Ruach HaKodesh. See, this is why they don't mind you understanding that you are Hebrew, right? They just don't want you to receive the witness. Because when you receive the witness, then you become a people called by his name, right? You become his because you now have his Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of you. You've come through Yahusha HaMashiach. You received his witness. Now you have power. Dunamus. Exousia. And listen, the malachine, they gonna come. Yahuwah said, look, you gotta go and get Peter out of there because these people, these righteous Kodeshim, are interceding on his behalf. And I need him out. All right? So listen, let's go on. So behold, an angel of Elohiym came on him, and a light shined in the prison. Right? A light, a glory light, right? A power light, right? Shown in the prison, right? And he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up. So he tapped him on the side and lifted him up, right? Saying, Arise quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands, right? And the malachine said unto him, Gird thyself. Put your clothes on. Gird yourself. Get yourself together. Put your coat on. Get yourself together, right? Gird thyself, right? Because, they might have just stripped him down, put him in some chains, and had him sitting there. We don't say that, but, if he had to gird himself and put on his clothes, then chances are they had him in chains. So fixed him up so, even if he did get out, he didn't have his clothes. Oh, man, listen. Right? And the angel said unto him, gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. Put your clothes on, put your shoes on. So he did. And he said unto him, cast thy garment about thee and follow me. Throw your coat on and follow me. Right? Right? And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true, which was done by the Malachim, but thought he saw a vision. Now, Peter saw visions before, and the visions that Peter saw was so real, right, that Peter, he was familiar with the vision, right, and he just felt like, he had to be in a vision, because it couldn't be real that he was actually walking out of his prison between these two guards, Pastor and Christian, at the front gate, at the front door, right? Look, he felt like he was in a vision, right? Ruach HaKodesh. But what he was participating in is a demonstration of Ruach power, right? That was brought about because he had some Kodeshim that had the Ruach HaKodesh that was praying in the Ruach and praying with their understanding for him and his deliverance. Because they thought he was going to die. Because James died, head of the church in Jerusalem. Right? And passed through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. So he got out, right? The angel let him out. Because, all right, you free now. And when Peter was come to himself, right? Because he was like, okay, well, what just happened? Okay, what just happened? What's going on? What happened? What's going on? I mean, was this a vision? Well, I'm standing on this street, and this angel has left. Right? So this is what he does. So he came to himself and said, now I know of a surety that Adonai have sent his Malachim and have delivered me out of the hands of Herod. Right? He knows it. Right? And from all the expectations of the people, of the Jews, because, they was hoping to have him come before Herod and Herod kill him. The Jews wanted him dead, right? Right? And when he had considered the things, he came to the house of Mary and the mother of Mary, and the mother of Yochanon, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. So he gets to the house where they all at. Right? And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhodai, right? And when she knew Peter's voice, because she heard his voice, she knew his voice, they knew his voice, right? She opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. Oh, right. So instead of opening the gate, she ran and told everybody Peter outside the gate. Oh, man. Bruised, boy, bruised. And they said unto her, thou art mad. You done bumped your head. You got Bruce praying for stuff and touching the throne of Yahuah, and when Yahusha does it, they be like, still like, you mad. They be going all in, praying and asking for Yahuah to deliver, and then when he does it, you be like, what? Listen. Yahuah moves for his people. Peter's appointment was not this day. No, right? They said to her, oh, you mad. But she consistently affirmed that it was even so. Then they said, it is his angel. Right? Because, you know, the assumption that we all have our own individual angels. And this was Peter's angel. Right? But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door, saw him, they were astonished. He was amazed. Right? They were astonished. They were amazed. Right? They were thrown in wonderment. To be outside of one's mind, besides oneself. Listen. They were amazed. This is Peter. We was praying. And Yahuah answered. But he beckoned unto them with his hands to hold their peace. Shh. Hold your peace. Declared unto them how Yahuah Adonai had brought him out of prison. And he said, go show these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went to another place. Got out of Dodge. Because, Herod going to come looking for him. He said, but listen, go and go show these things. Right? Because you were witnesses. Go declare this truth, that Yahuah delivered me out of prison, that he moved by the Ruach. He had sent his angels, his Malachim, to move on our behalf. Go tell him. Go, right? He says, and he departed and went into another place. And as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers. Because now these 4 soldiers got to give an account as to how Peter got out. And they all got the same story. We don't know. They all got the same story, right? What was become of Peter, right? In verse 19. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded them that they should be put to death. He examined them. He questioned them. What happened? How did you let this man get out? I don't understand. What you're saying does not make sense. It's not possible for them to get past you and the guards and everybody else. It's not possible. You're lying. You're going to die. He kills them. Right? And he commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down to Judea, to Caesarea, and there he abode. So Herod had the soldiers put to death, and then he went to Caesarea. Right? We're going to keep going. Right? This is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. How Yahuah delivers by the power of the Kodeshim who intercede in the Ruach HaKodesh. Even when they get their prayers answered, sometimes they're amazed at the outcome. But Yahuah honors whatsoever things you desire when you pray. If you believe that you receive them, you shall have them. Yahusha said, ask, shall be given. Seeking, you shall find. Knocking, the door shall be. Listen. As the Kodeshim who have received his witness, you can ask. You can come together as Kodeshim under the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach and pray and have supernatural things happen. All right, let's go on. And Herod was highly displeased with them in Tyre and Sidon, right? But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain, their friends, desired peace because their country was nourished by the king in the country. So, Herod was not pleased with how these particular regions were being dealt with and what they were doing, right? He wasn't. And what they did was upon him on a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made orations to them. So he sat on his throne and, he did that thing that he do, lifted up himself and took pride in everything that he did, right? Right? Now, the people, they're going to exalt him because, they want to remain in good steads. Sidon and Tyre, they want to be in good with Herod. You don't want to get on Herod's bad side, right? So Herod got up because he wasn't pleased with what they was doing, how they was running things, right? And they, they want to have peace, they want to have peace with the king country, right? So he said, so Herod, he dressed up and began to give his speech, right? And, the people fed into his ego. He says, and the people gave a shout saying, it is the voice of an owl, right? Voice of a God. And not the voice of a man, right? Right? Now, Herod should have, because, he was acting king over Yahusha, right? The headquarters of the temple, right? He should have given praise to Yahuah, right? Because Yahuah should have praise, right? But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. Right. Now, you have to understand now the Ruach of Yahuah was rendering judgment. Right. He was rendering judgment for James, the apostle. He was rendering judgment for the soldiers who didn't die due to anything of their own. They couldn't explain it, but right? He was rendering judgment for all those that died, that were the firstborn, that he sought to kill. He died. You was judging him for Yahusha HaMashiach. His judgment just came to the full. You knew what he was going to do. So here you have Herod, right? Herodian, Esau, Edomite, standing in the place of a king over Yahusha, puppet king, with puppet Pharisees and Sadducees, right? The scepter shall not depart from Yahudah. Herod wasn't Yahudiym. He wasn't a rightful king. He didn't have authority to sit on the seat in Jerusalem as king over any of the territories. But, he didn't give Yahuah glory. Right? And immediately, the Malachim of Adonai smote him. immediately, at the point where they shouted that he is a God and not of a man, immediately the Malachim of Adonai Yahusha smote him. Because he gave not Yahuah the glory. Smote him. And he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. So here we have, right? He gave up his breath. That means he died. The ghost. He gave up his breath, his pneuma. Listen, right? So, the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuah and Yahusha, the prayers of the Kodeshim on behalf of Peter in prison, every evil work culminated in this point that is ascribed to Herod. In one swoop, immediately, an angel touched him, smote him, and his body began to self-decompose and to be eaten by worms. Immediately. Listen, these other nations know. Those who are in the know in these other nations, who know who you are, know why they do what they do to you, because they know that in the day that you receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach and wake up to becoming who you are as kings and priests of the tribe of Yahudah, who in that day their own men are going to be like Dawid when it comes to defending the nation. They know. Right now, though they've taken this and they've tried to shift things to create this confusion, the reality of it is this Besorah, this Torah is ours. And it is by the Ruach HaKodesh, having received the witness of Yahuah and Yahusha, that this revelation, right, this spirit, this Ruach of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of Yahuah and Yahusha, right, is made available to us. We understand this is about establishing his kingdom. It's about Yahusha having established his kingdom in us, right? Because we are now his, the first fruits of his kingdom. Those who have received his witness, those who have his Ruach HaKodesh, those who are going to be pillars in the temple, or pillars in the kingdom, who are going to serve him in the kingdom. Yahuah and Yahusha in us, the kingdom of Yahuah and Yahusha in us. See, this is what this looks like. This is what the judgment of Yahuah looks like when you misuse the people of Yahuah. Right? That's what it looks like when the Malachim strikes you because you don't want to give glory to Yahuah. And you start immediately being eaten up by worms. And you cease to breathe. You cease to exist. Because you did not give Yahuah the glory. That's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. Man of Yahuah. Woman of Yahuah. There are things that you have to do. There's things that I have to do. This Besorah must be preached. This witness of Yahusha and Yahuah, this receiving of his Ruach HaKodesh to be the witnesses that he's called us to be, this is what we are to do. Right? And these signs shall follow us. And some of us may not make it. Some of us may not make it. Some of us are going to die by the sword for the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach. Some of us are going to escape because Yahusha has decided it that way. Yahuah has decided it that way. But at any rate, once you've received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, you got to go. Again. Those that are part of the Besorah of truth, this ministry, this service that Yahuah has given into my hands. These people know that, look, whatever you have to do. You receive the word of Yahusha and Yahuah that he has given me by the Ruach HaKodesh, but listen, you got to do what you got to do. You have people that you have to reach. Oh, you got people you got to reach. You got to go into the prisons, houses. You got to go into the prison houses. Man and woman, you got to go into prison houses. Listen, some of y'all, look, strippers. You got to go to strippers' houses. You got to rescue the daughters of Zion. Listen, if they don't want to receive you, it's okay. But you did what Yahusha told you to do. You go. Whatever it is Yahusha tells you to do, that's what you got to do. And you don't wait for no man to tell you can do it. You wait for the Ruach HaKodesh, the witness of Yahusha, and he'll reveal to you when it's time to go. And you go. You go into the prison houses. Right? You go to the blocks. You go to the brews that you used to sling weight with. You go to the bangers you used to run with. It's about that Ruach HaKodesh. Man, this is about Yahushua HaMashiach. This is about us being the people of Yahusha. This is about us not destroying one another. Oh, man, we don't hear that. Bro, I wish you would take a moment to listen. Because this is truth. I'm trying to drop dimes on you. I'm try to give you jewels. It's going to change your life. Right? After you heard me, and you don't think it's worth it, then okay. I ain't going to mess with you no more. I'm going to love you. I ain't gonna mess with you no more. Shake your dust. But you did what you're supposed to do. Right? Yahusha came to his own. And his own received him not, but as many as did receive him, to them gave he power, because they received the witness, to become the sons of Yahuah, even them that believed on his witness, the name, Yah salvation. Yahusha. Listen, man, of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. Don't quench the Ruach HaKodesh. Don't quench the Ruach HaKodesh. Don't quench the Ruach HaKodesh. You better be about your father's business. You better be about your father's business and not about just hanging out. Just being a part of an assembly, hanging out. Because you were going to say, listen, man, why didn't you do this? When I was urging you by the Ruach HaKodesh to do it. Well, why did you quench it? Why did you quench it? Why? Why didn't you go and do what I told you to do? Why didn't you go speak that word that I told you to speak? Right? Right? I'm not talking about this word that you're going to speak to everybody in your assembly. I'm talking about them people that you're going to run into contact with. Wherever you at. Wherever you at. When you're driving, where you go. Listen, every day, I'm like, Yahuah, every time I get in this car, I pray by the Ruach HaKodesh that I be a witness. Every time I leave this house, I pray in the name of Yahusha Mashiach that you would testify, that you would use my mouth and my lips as instruments of righteousness, that you would use me to speak a word to someone who needs a word. Listen, that happened to me yesterday. I met a couple. I'm going to close with this. I met a couple, right? I drive Uber. I do it for about 4 hours a day, All right, so I'm driving Uber, right? And I get in the car this morning. I'm getting in the car before I leave to go. I'm like, I just pray right now in the name of Yahushua Mashiach that, you would lead me as I leave this house to do this. I believe that as many as are led by the Spirit of Yahuah, these are the sons of Yahuah. And I'm praying and believing that by your Ruach HaKodesh, you're going to use me in the life of somebody. You're going to use me, Yahuah. You're going to use me. I believe it so in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. And I receive it. I receive the witness. I receive the fact that you use me and that the Ruach HaKodesh is in me. And I thank you in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? So, I strike out. It's like any other day. I pick up rides. Some people I talk to. Some people I don't. I listen to the Ruach HaKodesh. I don't open my mouth and have conversations unless he tells me. And then I don't worry about none of this other stuff. Like when people, you drive around, you worry about COVID. Now, I'm never got COVID. I ain't worried about no mess like that. I got you shit me. I got the Ruach HaKodesh. The Qeycaryah is in me. He said, well, I don't worry about stuff like that. Listen, I'm trying to do what I need to do to get what I need to get in order to be a blessing to the people I need. That's what it's about. I can't worry about stuff like that. So, anyways, I'm riding, doing my thing, picked up a couple people, right? I ain't just working, right? And then I pick up this lady at Publix, right? It's a Coty. And she gets in the car. She says, oh, I noticed your necklace. She said, you Hebrew? I said, most certainly, yeah. Shalom. I love Yahuah and Yahusha. I keep his commandments. As Yahusha kept the Father's commandments. Get to talk. She's like, man, I am so glad because, we just, me and my husband, we just started out in this, and, we just get so, I got so many questions. I like to really prick your brain. Can I pick your brain? I said, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Whatever yeah, sure. So she had texted her husband, right, and told him to meet her downstairs once I get to the location. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I get there. I'm talking to her. She's like, oh, man. She said, no one has ever explained it like that to me. She says, oh, man, that makes so much sense. And I can't remember what it was we were discussing, me and her at that time. But whatever the Ruach HaKodesh gave her was exactly what she needed, because, all I do is open my mouth and trust the Ruach HaKodesh, give me what to say, and he give me what to say, because that's just how I live, right? That's the way it is. So, but this, again, of course, you got to understand that I know the Tsor and I know the Torah, and I have the word on the inside of me. I have the Tsor and the Torah of truth on the inside of me, and the Ruach HaKodesh of truth will always lead me and guide me in the truth, so he's going to speak what's right. Right. So her husband comes down, and, I open the front door. He comes, sits in the front side and the passenger side, and we get to talking, man. We want to talk about 45 minutes, I think. We look, man, we just... And, you know, he was getting answers, and, you know, she was getting answers, and, you know, and then, you know, I gave her my YouTube channel. I told her, you know, you can find some answers on my YouTube channel. And then I said, you know what, if you really want to get the history of things, you know, you want to understand things a little bit more, you need to check out B'nai Yisrael's Hidden Hebrew series. I mean, it's a real good series. I mean, you know, it'll walk you through different elements of factual representation, you know, and then, you know, I don't think I mentioned it, but I probably should have, you know, the rebirth of a nation's 3 video series. I should have mentioned that one, but, you know, it didn't come. I'm sorry, I didn't remember, but it was a good documentary. It is really, it's good. But at any rate, you know, it was a blessing, you know. And here, you know, I'm in Sarasota, and I'm thinking, man, you know, ain't hardly no brews here. I ain't met nobody. And then one day, Yahuah said, no, I got people. You don't hear me. I got people. So, you know, of course, you know, I'm gonna invite them to our Zoom Shabbat, you know, and share with them the Besorah Truth Zoom Shabbat. And we're just going to continue to do what Yahusha tells us to do. Look, I'm going to declare this Besorah to whoever Yahusha puts in my path, who he tells me to speak to, because those are going to be the ones that have an ear to hear. Yeah, I'm not going to just open up and idly get chatting about stuff, you know, because, you know, people don't. Yahuah knows who he wants, and he'll put them in your car. You put them in your car. Out of all the people this woman could have picked up, she picked up me. Of all the people her husband could have met and talked to, he talked to me. California. Just moved here. Getting herself situated and established. So yeah, she says, well, you know, we wanna get clothes, and we wanna do some things. We wanna make sure we do the right. I said, no problem. I'll be able to help you. No problem. You know, I'm gonna put you on the right resources. But this is about, and I tell people, listen, I don't be telling people, look, you need to follow me. I be telling people, listen, this is about the witness. If you receive the witness, then, you know, you have an obligation to develop yourself in the Besorah and the Torah, but then you know, you got to go do what Yahushua told you to do. You know, yeah, you could be a part of an assembly. Yeah, you can be a part of Besorah Truth if you want. But listen, at the end of the day, you have to be about the Father's business. Yeah. This is your truth. So, man of Yah, woman of Yah, I'm going to pray. Yahuah, I give you praise right now that I pray that these people that are under the sound of my voice would hear and recognize what this witness, this Besorah of truth, this Torah, the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, the Spirit of truth in them, what it requires and what it demands, and what are the examples of this witness. Yahuah, I pray in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that you would demonstrate through your power to them this Besorah of truth. Yahuah, I give you praise because you're worthy of praise. I pray for those who are in the need of healing. Yahusha, the Ruach HaKodesh is not limited to time and space. I pray, Yahuah, just like they prayed for Peter's deliverance, and you sent a Malachim, I pray right now for healing of everyone that is under the sound of my voice, that if they receive this word, that you would heal them in their body. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I pray that you would deliver those that are under oppressive demonic spirits, that you would establish them in the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, and let them, that they would receive your Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuah, I pray miracles, Yahuah, you said the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, that sinners have the task of gathering it and handing it over to us. Yahuah, in this hour, your righteous men or women who have to carry this Besorah of truth needs the wealth that is necessary to get the job done. And Yahuah, we know that you can do things without money. You know I know that you can do anything. And I just trust you with my emunah in the witness and believe your word. So Yahuah, I give you praise. Now you will let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Hallelujah. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yahuah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, today Yahuah has favored you. Go in the power and the strength of the Ruach HaKodesh and be witnesses of Yahusha HaMashiach. Be witnesses. Demonstrate the power of Yahuah and Yahusha. Listen, ask Yahuah to show you what you need to do today. Show him. When you in your car and you traveling somewhere, ask Yahusha to show you who you need to speak to. Ask the Ruach to lead you to who you need to share a word with every day. And do the work, because it's about doing the work. With that, I say, man of Yah, woman, again, we coming into the Shabbat this evening. And we give praise for you. I love the Shabbat, y'all. I love the Shabbat. I love the rest of Yahusha. I love the rest of Yahuah. I do. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, with that I say, listen, be at peace. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Torah Guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.